There's a lot of people that are in jail right now who are innocent.
As soon as they have a question, it's not let's have a conversation about it. It's like, let me just ask ChatGPT. And I'm like, well, what do you think?
I've heard about the Tilly Norwood or something. I've never seen her in a movie. I don't know who this bitch is.
Oh, is that not true? Is that a rumor? This is Tiffany Hunt, AKA Mami Tiff with Complex News.
What up, Mami Tiff?
What's up, Mami Tiff?
What's going on, Mami Tiff?
I like the set. I feel like it looks like you're hosting a TED Talk or something like that.
It's
very
gonna
good.
get really
You're giving
serious.
Steve Jobs vibes.
Yes.
It's giving professional. I love it. Well, first of all, congratulations to you both, and thank you so much for joining us here at Complex News. How are you both feeling today?
Feeling good. Thank you. Fresh. You're getting us early.
Yes.
Yeah, you're getting us early.
Yep.
So we're sharp.
Amazing. Glad that you, Chris Pratt, and Kali Reis can join us today. Now, I have to say, this film was insanely action-packed. It was also terrifying and had me really concerned about the future of AI and our justice system. Could you imagine if AI was in real life our judge, jury, and executioner? Like, what would y'all do?
I mean, it has, you said this earlier, it does have its perks as far as, the timing or the access of people who need the information to prove their innocence or to have the information to find people guilty, and the turnaround times, the justice for victims, et cetera, et cetera. But I think too much of one thing and is, could be bad. And also you can't really, I think in the sense where, where human emotion or human bad days for a judge come into play, something like that I can see being very beneficial, where there's not human emotion or somebody, had a stomach ache, or this one looks like somebody's ex and they just have this, this shield. I feel like something like that would be really beneficial. And the information for people who can't get information, who can't afford lawyers, or can't have counsel, I think something like that, but we'd have to use it very specifically. I don't see in the future, like, this movie's just, entertainment purposes. It's not saying this is going to be the future, but it does bring up the question, how would we handle that? And I think it would have to be very specifically fine-tuned for it to be like reality, at least for me.
And I think human error is a big part of why any system works or fails. And I think if you can eliminate human error, and that's always going to work to benefit human beings. I think there's a great example in this story. There's a character who very much, and I don't want to give anything away, but there's a character who looks like he may be guilty. Right off the bat, he's got motive, he's running. You're like, it's that dude. Okay, it's that dude. They go, no, it's not. Wait, what do you mean? It's like, we know. Like every bit of evidence that shows, we have a camera on him for 5 hours. I was able to go through it in 2 seconds. I know it wasn't him. I know exactly where he is. He has an alibi. It's done. Next. And so being able to process information quickly without all of the bureaucracy and the red tape and the human error, you might have people, there's a lot of people that are in jail right now who are innocent. And if you could process information quickly and prove, use that as proof to your own innocence. Not that we should be guilty until proven innocent, but to say, no, I am still innocent. Look, here's the evidence right here. Process that. It takes ChatGPT 2 seconds to process this. It's done. I'm off. It might save people from being put in jail who are otherwise innocent.
Yeah, I like the positive outlook on it, but I also am glad that you both acknowledge that there are positive and negatives, and that to an extent it could be helpful as a tool, but it's still important to kind of have that humanity. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I got 90 minutes to prove whether I'm gonna live or not. That's what I was thinking the whole time, was like, and that's why it really keeps you on the edge of your seat, because it's a countdown. So, but yeah, no, I love hearing both of your perspectives on that. Now, your character, Chris, Detective Raven, he believes, that, well, he helped create and really promote the Mercy program. And he, at one point, believes that he's, kind of above it. But then he finds himself very well in that Mercy chair. Right. What lesson do you think can be taken away from this film regarding the power of AI in our current society? And you both can answer that.
Man, yeah. It's first of all, it should be noted that it's not a think piece on AI. The point of this is not to have you walk away and have like your perspective radically shifted on AI or justice. This is truly entertainment. It's a 90-minute thrill ride. That's the point of this movie. But if you ask the question, what can a person take away from it? Should they leave thinking? I think it's truly embracing the balance between humanity and efficiency. Machines can make us more efficient, but it's always going to be the beating heart and the soul of a human being that's going to be at the center of making decisions, and in doing so should always take into account humanity, and we should weigh and consider things on a case-by-case basis in the most humane way possible. If you just create a giant machine that makes all these decisions, that is not going to be humane, and there'll be a lot more suffering than justice. And so I think it's finding a balance.
I guess if you want to say a fear of something like AI being something that we always go to is like, I have stepkids and I'm like, as soon as they have a question, it's not let's have a conversation about it. It's like, let me just ask ChatGPT. And I'm like, well, what do you think? I like to hear an actual thought, like having these conversations. It's nothing to maybe Google a piece of information and have a conversation based on the information. But the reliance on actually learning something, it's good to learn something and then maybe have a conversation about that, or maybe open a book, even if it's an ebook about something, and then reading it, and then writing down your own thoughts. That's the only thing I'm a little worried about. Just like anything else,
Right.
It's a good tool. It can be built and can be made to destroy, but I think just dependent on it. You don't want to see people so dependent on it. It's a great tool. It's there's all kind of technology that save lives now, and the way that technology can process. We have things that are implanted in bodies that can detect things really quick to get
Right.
people what they need, the emergency care. But when people are dependent on something like that actually really have that intellectual conversation like we are now, I think that just my only fear is that we try to keep that balance, because we all use our phone, we all use Google. I've asked ChatGPT really stupid questions before just because I wanted to see. But I think as long as we keep, like you said, that humanity part of it, that creative, and also, we all learn from our mistakes, so we need to make mistakes, in order to learn. And it's that's the thing that I want to, keep that going. We all learn what not to do. We learn what to do from our human error or our mistakes too.
And there's meaning in the work. There's like a Zen meaning in the work that we do. When there was an industrial revolution and all of a sudden people who used to wield a hammer or a sickle were out there in the field doing this work, there was meaning to putting in that 8 hours of working and bringing it home. It kind of gave humanity purpose. But then that purpose was outsourced to something else, and then you have to try to find some other way to do it, and it might not be as purposeful. So now we're in the midst of an intellectual revolution, and I think there's meaning in learning. There's meaning in searching, like you said, the answers for ourselves. And so if we can just outsource our thinking, we might be left with very little meaning. And then what are we left to do? Probably, I guess, just passively consume entertainment and stuff, but I don't think that's necessarily good for the human soul. So I think you have to be really mindful and take ownership over some of the stuff that you want to do, even if you do it much slower than AI could do it. There's meaning in Zen in becoming the activity of doing it.
Yeah, and I think to take away from the both of what you just said is work ethic, and like the work ethic comes from the humanity. And speaking of like work ethic, and also to just like the work that y'all have both done in the film industry, we're kind of in a very interesting spot where AI actors are popping up. And that being said, how has filming Mercy made you, impact your perception on AI within the film industry?
Well, I've heard about the Tilly Norwood or something. I've never seen her in a movie. I don't know who this bitch is. She's just because she was on
I don't know
she was on a Yahoo page. She's real now. She ain't nobody real. The point is, it's not a real person. So yeah, she's talking. It's like no, she's not doing any jobs. But so the acting, I think actors are going to be safe. But I do think that there's certain streamlining creative content and visual effects likely is going to displace some people because it's just more efficient. Like there was a long time where CGI was never going to be used. It was always going to be stop motion. And then Steven Spielberg saw a CGI dinosaur running through the fields and he said, I have to do this. This is what I have to do. This makes the experience better for the viewer. And ultimately, you're giving a gift to this viewer. And so I would say, as a tool in the hands of a craftsman, AI can be great. It can make that craftsman an even better artist, but it's never going to be the artist. It's never going to be the craftsman holding the tools. It's just a tool that the craftsman can hold.
At least for me, especially being still pretty new to this industry and this craft, I personally like to find the soul of the character, no matter what. We have real reactions in imaginary circumstances. So I don't think that an AI can they can compute maybe what it feels like to to be in this situation. But the reason why we watch movies and the reason why we go to the theater and we sit down and watch movies, we cry, we laugh, we think we're in this chair, oh my God, something's gonna happen, is because we can empathize. We have those feelings, we have those lived experiences, or maybe we imagine it because a friend told us a story about it. I think that part of it, being an artist, like, you'll never take the creative process and the soul out of, I mean, nothing against Tilly or whatever you said, but you have to, you see that, and you see that no matter how real an AI image is, and it's fascinating how these images and how they make these, but I feel like that soul and that connection with that real human experience, you just can't replace that.
No, you can't.
Yeah, it's that human experience, the human emotions. Thank you for both speaking on that. And then just a final fun question. I know you both are fans of Jurassic World. I mean, obviously, Chris, also your fans, they talk about how you've manifested your role in the movie franchise, and then off of the Parks and Rec set. And then you, Kaylee, you've talked about how Jurassic Park, growing up, made you want to become a paleontologist. Have you guys discussed this mutual love? Oh, was that not true? Is that a rumor?
No, it is. No, it's true.
I did not know that, though.
I did. I wanted to be a paleontologist as a kid.
Oh.
And yeah, and I saw Jurassic Park in the drive-in with my mom, and she screamed her head off. So I did.
Did you?
I did.
That's amazing.
Because of the movie.
Of course.
Yes. So now he just learned
I didn't know that. I love learning that about you. That's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
Well, now you guys have some more to talk about outside of Mercy and personal life. And then final question, because I know we're at the end. What do you both hope the audience will overall take away from, sit with and take away from this film?
I would say this. I've always loved movies. I've watched movies as a kid, all the way up until now. I still love movies. I used to get movies on, VHS or DVD, and I also would periodically get to go to the movies. Not all the time, but sometimes I got to go to the movies, and that was a really special treat. You know which movies I remember? I remember the movies I saw in the theater. Those are the movies they just sit differently in my mind. And so my hope for audience members on this movie is that when they are older or, in the years, they look back and they're like, that was a movie I saw in the theater. It's truly a visual spectacle. It's best digested and experienced on a big screen with 3D images. If you have a 3D theater near you, like an IMAX theater or something near you, it's truly a wild experience. It's different. You will not be on your phone while watching the movie. You're not going to be kind of also tweeting. No, you're going to be having a full-on immersive experience, a 90-minute ticking clock in a room full of strangers whom otherwise you might disagree with them about this or that or the other thing. Doesn't matter. You're all on the ride together, and you're going to think back, and you're going to be like, I remember seeing that movie because I was in a movie theater when I saw it. I think there's meaning to seeing it at a theater. So my hope, my takeaway is that this is a movie that people choose to make a memory in their life, a meaningful memory in their life, by seeing it in a format that sticks.
What he said. Took the thoughts right out of my nah. I mean, really, going to the only way to experience this movie, and it's not just because I'm in it, is really in a movie theater. It's such an immersive experience, and Timur does such a good job with just bringing you in. And you have experience in real time. I think anything in real time is just it has a different feel to it. It's not a time jump. You're not like, oh, okay, that was 2 days ago. No, his every second is your every second, and I think that's something that's going to be very, very memorable. It's a movie that you're going to probably want to watch a few times as well, because you might go, wait, how didn't I see this? How didn't I see that? Oh wait, there's maybe something else I must have missed. But I think it's a real definitely a brain. So I just want people to take away from it that is entertainment, but there's some thoughtful pieces about humanity, about things going on in the world too. But just enjoy those 90 minutes of just watching this and just getting blown away.
Thank you both. Congratulations. Go see the theatrical experience January 23rd in theaters.
Thank you so much.